see here, man, y'all saw that title too as well. We're talking about 10 Mandela effects for beginners. Yes, Mandela effects beginners, for the beginners of beginners. Now, please understand that some of these Mandela effects might not be new to you, but they will be new to somebody else. And within this video, I am going to be doing some Mandela effects that I have not talked about on this channel. With that also said, y'all remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and leave me those comments down below for your Mandela effects and other beginning Mandela effects for the world. So other ado, let's get this thing going. We're going to start off with number 10, and we're going to the Cheez-It. Yes, Cheez-It, Cheez-It, Cheez-Its. And everybody knows that Cheez-Its is one of those great cheesy, crispy cracker treats that we all have. And with the Mandela effect with Cheez-Its, as you're going to see right here, does not have the Z on the end of Cheez-Its anymore. It is now called Cheez-It. This is one of the blind-blowing Mandela effects for brands itself, because we've all pronounced Cheez-Its Cheez-Its, not Cheez-It. It is weird because you're just more one than cheese, and it blows my mind. Cheez-Its is always going to be one of those great, easy way to jump into the Mandela effects for yourselves. That is right. Number 9, we're talking about Mr. Rogers and that classic song, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Yes, you heard me sing it right there. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Well, you know this Mandela effect has to do with that verse, and this is it right here.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
That is right. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Ugh, blows my mind. This neighborhood, I always remember it being the neighborhood. As you saw it before we did it, it was the neighborhood. And if I'm losing my mind on this, then why is Eddie Murphy in Saturday Night Live even singing this verse wrong? Listen.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Thank you, Mr. Eddie Murphy, yourself from Saturday Night Live. That's exactly how I remember this one. Mr. Rogers' Mandela effect. Do you remember It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood? Or the way it is now, It's a Beautiful Day in this neighborhood.
From the farthest space, through wind and darkness, I summon.
That is right. This great classic Disney movie has to be number 8, and it has to be one of the easiest Mandela effects for beginners too as well. And we're talking about Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Yes, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, that catchphrase that's raised America, the youth around the world, has been said so many times, but it's never been Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. It has always been Magic Mirror on the Wall. Listen.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the
Now,
fair?
if that is the whole entire case of Magic Mirror on the Wall from Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, then why do we have all these memes about it? Even good old Simpsons themselves.
Diamonds.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the baldest of them all?
Even Homer even said Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. You can find this all over the place. So many places, so many things to find evidence of the way it originally was. In my world, as always, was Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Never Magic Mirror on the Wall. But what do you remember? How do you remember this one? Does it always been to you Magic Mirror on the Wall? Or is it to you the way it is for me? Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. That is right. Number 7, we're going to be talking about King Henry the 7th and that missing thing out of his hand, as I throw a picture up there for you right there. Now, we were taught that for royalty, especially King Henry himself, always was an eater, was a muncher, and he always had a turkey leg in one of his hands. Well, as you see, he doesn't have that turkey leg in there. He never has had that turkey leg in his hand, and he never probably will ever again have that turkey leg in his hand. But in our reality, my reality, many realities, we remembered King Henry VII having a turkey leg in his hand, holding it while he's sitting there and is painting in his picture something strong and mighty and buffy. But if that's the case that he never had that, then why does The Simpsons depict
What
it?
are you doing out of bed? I just planted my seed in your womanly dirt.
Your Majesty, I know you want a son, but must we discuss my womb in front of the entire...
The Simpsons depicted it. So many pictures as I'm showing here right now with the turkey leg in his hand. Even like a description from a food place saying, come get King Henry's meal with the chicken leg and all the dinner meat. That's so crazy to me. And you're telling me that we have had it wrong. Our memory is totally misleading us to that. You gotta be wrong. You're telling us there was never a turkey leg in his hands. But how do you remember this one? Do you always remember King Henry VII having a turkey leg in his hand? Or do you remember it the way it is now, him having that little bag of jewel or water, whatever you want to call it, in his hand? 6 for Mandela Effects for beginners. We're going to Sex in the City. Yes, Sex in the City, because that's the way I remember it. That's how I remember it from the day I saw it to the day I am now. Right now, it has always to me been Sex in the City. But as you know right now, it is Sex and the City, which sounds odd to me. And why do I believe it was always Sex in the City? Well, I remember when this series came out, I used to go to a friend's house on Sunday. We drink Grand Marnier, smoke a blunt, and him and the girls would just watch Sex in the City. It's just what they would do. Let alone, I remember when I was married, I bought the CD, the DVD set, and it said Sex in the City. It was the nice little red velvet vinyl thing, and it had Sex in the City on it. But I'm not the only person that remembers Sex in the City. Here, listen.
Stuck with
Yeah,
it.
I had been sort of toying with it, and then when I got cast in Sex and the City, they
Learn
decided
how to talk to girls. So I'll ask you again. What are the names of the women on Sex in the City?
Even Chris Griffin himself had to watch Sex in the City so he can get to know girls that way. That is how I remember it too as well. But how do you remember this Mandela Effect? Do you always remember it the way it is now, Sex and the City? Or are you like me and many of us others remember it being Sex in the City? Number 5's got to be that classic movie Forrest Gump, and that classic line that we've said thousands of times, been parodied thousands of times. Life is like a box of chocolates. Well, as you know in this Mandela Effect, that life is like a box of chocolates is no more. He now says life was like a box of chocolates. Listen.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Crazy that this iconic line, this first freaking phrase technically in this movie, has been changed in front of our eyes, that we all got this wrong. We misremembered it wrong. It has always been life was like a box of chocolates. Never life is like a box of chocolates. But if that's the case, then why does it say this on the back of the VHS tape? Life is like a box of chocolates. Let alone Weird Al Yankovic himself even did a parody song about Forrest Gump. Here, listen.
With his hands in his pockets, he just kept saying life is like a box of chocolates. He's gone, he's gone.
You sure you don't want chocolate? I always say life is like a box of chocolates. Sure.
Enough evidence there for you now. Life is like a box of chocolates. He sung it there for you right there. But how do you remember this Mandela Effect? Has it always been the way it is now for you? Life was like a box of chocolates? Or has it changed in your reality like mine and many others' realities? Life is like a box of chocolates.
Watching sap boil was a lot like watching sap drip.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful number 4, and that great, cute little monkey himself. Good old Curious George. Yes, Curious George and his wonderful tail that he doesn't have anymore. That is correct. That is correct. The Mandela Effect for Curious George is that Mr. Monkey Curious George does not have his tail anymore. But if he doesn't have his tail, how did he get in all that mischief by swinging on his tail all the way around? Why do we all remember there was a tail on Curious George? There's a little proof of it. Yes, I do understand that it is from the movie The Mandela Effect. If you haven't seen that movie, it is an awesome movie. Please check it out. It will kind of show you a little bit more insight on the Mandela Effects. But in that movie, they depicted Curious George with a tail. Let alone with that, there is also games on Pin the Tail on George. Blows my mind, don't it? I always remember Curious George having a wonderful tail just because he used to swing and get in all that mischief with that tail. But how do you remember it? Do you always remember the tail on Curious George? Or are you in this reality the way it is now where George has no tail at all?
Don't you have friends coming over?
Yeah, so?
It stinks in here. You've got to wash this whole room.
Are you kidding?
That is right. Feel and smell the freshness of Febreze. Yes, Febreze itself. And as I throw this picture up for you right here, does that look right? Which one's right? Which one's wrong? Well, if you are checking the one out with both the E's on Breeze, well, you're completely wrong, because it has never, ever, ever been that way, never was that way, and apparently never, ever will be that way. It was never spelt Febreze like a real breeze with those E's. There's always been regular Febreze with that one E for breeze. It blows my craziness mind out the way, because I remember it being called Febreze because of the breeze. It brings a breeze of fresh air through the air, never a breeze in the air. It blows my mind. But how do you remember Febreze? Do you always remember Febreze being spelt breeze? Or do you remember Febreze being spelt the way it is now, just really spelt Febreze?
Teaching to make a gif. All gone.
For your special one with a taste.
Love this one. This is a classic favorite peanut butter of mine when I was a kid. And yes, we are talking about Jiffy the peanut butter. Yes, Jiffy peanut butter. As you know, in this reality, it never was Jiffy. Never has been Jiffy, probably never will be Jiffy. But in my reality, and many other realities, we remember spreading this wonderful, silky smooth Jiffy peanut butter all over our bread, making our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But as you know, it's Jif. It's just Jif now. It blows my mind because it is Jif. Jif, Jif, Jif. I don't remember Jif. I mean, I do because it's Jiffy, but it was never Jif. It was Jiffy in my mind. But with that said, I was going through this, looking stuff up, and I was finding articles, newspaper clippings on how much Jiffy peanut butter costs, and let alone Jiffy peanut butter for sale right there. Jiffy peanut butter for sale right there too as well. With that said, take a look at this.
Weird. Hand me a magnifying glass. Which one? 5X. Look at the belt buckle on the Robin Hood peanut butter label. It's the same.
1,000.
Millennium.
Yes.
A fortnight.
Okay. Do this quickly. Quickly. Peanut butter.
Second.
Peanut butter. Not Skippy, but the other one.
Skip.
The other one.
Jelly.
They're looking for Jiffy. Jiffy.
Oh, Jiffy.
Let alone American Dad did theirs. But you're telling me the $1,000, $20,000 pyramid show, they even pronounced it Jiffy too as well? They were describing that peanut butter as Jiffy? So you're telling me they got it wrong too as well? So they're in the same reality we're in, but not in the reality we're in, or whatever reality we should be in? That's how I remember it though. I always remember it being Jiffy, never Jif. It blows me away to this day still, because gosh, Jiffy was just a great taste of peanut butter. But how do you remember this Mandela effect? Do you remember it always being Jiffy in my reality like many others do? Or do you remember it being Jif the way it is now in this reality?
I want to say thank you to you. I haven't had an orthodox career, and I've wanted more than anything to have you.
That is right. Number one, we have to go to the Oscars. We have to go to this wonderful screen actress. We have to be talking about Sally Fields. Yes, Sally Fields. You heard me say one of those Mandela effects right there for you. Fields. In my reality and many other realities, we remember Sally Fields being Sally Fields with an S on the end of her name. But in this reality, it is Sally Field. Not Fields, Sally Field. You heard me right. But technically this one doesn't have to do with that one. The next Mandela effect on this one has to do with her Oscar speech. When she won the Oscar, she got up there and said that magnificent phrase that was heard all around the world. Everybody heard it. Everybody re-said it. You're saying it right now. You like me. You really, really like me. But that's not the case.
But this time I feel it, and I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
Cannot deny it. You like me. Right now, you like me. This is not what she said. It's not what she said. We said this line so many times we got little rewards. We did something well. People clapped for you. Yeah, you like me. You really, really like me. That is what we said. So you're saying that we've got this, actors got this wrong, who've rephrased this so many times in a way that makes sense to what her Oscar speech really was in our reality back then. But you're telling me now that you cannot deny the fact that you like me? Right now? You like me? Get out of here. And while I'm saying get out of here, check out The Mask doing his version.
Thank you. You love me. You really love me.
That's right, Jim Carrey in The Mask. You love me. You really, really love me. He was doing his Sally Fields impression. That was the impression of that. Yes, he took like and love and flipped it over, but that's the way it was. That's how I remember it too. That was one of those famous lines. And it blows my mind because not just like Jim Carrey, not just like many others out there, but like myself, always remember it being, you like me. You really, really like me. But how do you remember it? Do you remember it the way I remember it? Or do you remember it the way it's always been and always has been? I cannot deny the fact. You like me. Right now, you like me. There you go, 10 Mandela Effects for beginners. Always love doing these videos, especially if it's for those beginners, those ones trying to jump in, waking up to seeing the difference of the reality that they live in. I love doing this, man. If you did like this at any time, please remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and leave me those comments down below so we can talk about these, others, and what else we should do with these Mandela Effect videos. Till then, y'all remember to keep your mind open because those eyes will see everything in front of them. Y'all stay crazy.
I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.